What's going on, guys, and welcome back to Forza Horizon 3 and the Blizzard Mountain Descent series. My vehicle today is the Holden FX Sedan. Now has 890 PI, so it is still in S1 class, quite a bit down on a lot of other vehicles. I put the 6.2 litre V8 engine into this car, the only engine that you can. It is supercharged, mainly because you can put a supercharger on the front, it makes sense to have it supercharged. It now has 1014 horsepower, 1141 torque, only weighs 1068 kilograms, which means that it has the same power and torque as the current leader, the Toyota Hilux, but weighs 700 kilograms less. However, probably means it's going to be a little bit crazy. Alright, so here we are with the Holden FX Sedan for our first run down the Snow Forest Descent course. Now, the current leader is the Toyota Hilux 8038 with a 209 point. Oh god, we've already buggered this wrong because I'm trying to see what time the Toyota did. A 209.163. That is the time for the Hilux in first place. Do I think this is going to beat that? No. No, I don't. First of all, we've got a very old car. I can't remember what year this was. 60s, 70s? Something like that. A very old car with a hell of a lot of power, a hell of a lot of torque, and not much weight. So if this goes quick, I would be surprised, especially driving it here. It's a little bit, I don't know if I'd say a handful, but it can't really, it's having issues dealing with its power because it's just not really designed for this sort of power, and it understeers into the wall there, so that's not good. Of course, this car is now converted to all-wheel drive like all the cars in this series, and yes, I do have a massive blower on the front. Much like the AMC Pacer that I had out last time. Not AMC Pacer, AMC Gremlin? Yes, AMC Gremlin that I had out last time. Yeah, it does have a big supercharger on the front. So that's the thing. It means that the visibility into left-handers is not amazing. We're going to have to... we don't want too much speed over that jump. It's a little bit scary. So yes, this should be quite an interesting car. My initial thoughts here while driving it are that yes, it's got a hell of a lot of power. It's not really designed to have this much power. So with a chassis this old, it's coping with it okay. All things considered, it isn't terrible. It's got quite a lot of understeer, quite a lot actually, through a lot of these corners. I really have to slow it down to get it turned, which I think is going to hinder it a hell of a lot through these runs. It's not terrible though, it's not terrible. It's definitely, you can tell it's not made, oh god, you can tell it's not made for this sort of thing as we flap around all over the place. Finish our first run, not very quick at all, a 2:15.9. There we're in 9th place at the moment. Last place, not 9th. I don't know why I said 9th. Run number 2 for the Holden. Let's see if we can get a bit of a better start this time. We lost some time at the start of that one because I was trying to look at what the time for the Hilux was. I really should have, memorized it. I really should start memorizing the times. Anyway, Hilux. First good run here, we're hoping for a decent run at this time. It's actually not, it's not too terrible. I mean, we've seen, with this series, I've not actually driven, this is possibly the oldest car I've driven. I've driven a few old cars. I mean, we've got the Porsche 550 Spider, is the Jeep CJ5, that's quite old. I don't know if it's quite as old as this, but yeah, I've driven quite a lot of 70s, 80s cars. Most of the cars I drive are kind of 90s, early 2000s to be honest, with the occasional old one like this thrown in and the occasional fairly new car. But we've seen with all older cars that, well, most older cars, especially this sort of age, dealing with the power it's a little bit problematic because you see the chassis for this car was it was made to deal with about, I'm not sure if it was 60 or 90 horsepower. It was one or the other, 60 or 90 horsepower. It now has over 1,000 horsepower. So it's got almost 1,000 horsepower more than it had before, which is, I mean, you wouldn't expect a car like this to be able to deal with this much power. I mean, it's not, it just doesn't make sense for it. It's like, well, look, I'm a very slow old car, crappy suspension, crappy chassis and everything. Oh, here we go. Let's stick 1,000 plus horsepower into me. That is going to be fun. And yeah, I mean that is the case really. It's not slidey and horrible, which is good. I would prefer my cars to be a little bit more understeering. It just kind of suits my driving a little bit more. However, the understeer is quite dramatic. Does understeer a lot, and just trying to catch it around the corners isn't the easiest. It bounces around quite a lot over the bumps. We have a quicker run this time. It's still not a very good run though. We are towards the back of the field with a 2:13.767. We can definitely go quicker. Okay, it is the final run for the Holden FX. Can we go quicker than a 2:13.7? I don't know really. That run there wasn't too bad. It's crazy really, because this car has the same amount of power and the same amount of torque as the Toyota Hilux. However, and also it weighs 700 kilograms less. In some ways, you'd think, oh yeah, that's a good thing. It weighs less. It can probably get around a bit nicer. But problem is, it's so light in a chassis that is just not designed to deal with this sort of crazy monstrosity of power, that it just can't deal with it. I mean, the Toyota Hilux, even though it's not the newest car in the world, it can deal with that power a lot better. I mean, I usually don't have to brake around that corner there. I do get the line slightly wrong through there, so I probably could do better, but yeah, usually I have maybe a little bit of a lift and that's about it. With this car, it's absolutely terrifying trying to get around some of these corners. This hairpin here, notably bad, really bad for understeer around that corner. I mean, a lot of cars struggle around that hairpin. It's a very tight corner. And then this slalomy section here, it's probably the worst in this car out of any car that I've ever driven. It just doesn't quite get turned enough, and that's because the chassis, it's just not made to deal with this. I mean, this is such an old-fashioned car that just can't deal with this power. I'm having to be really careful over these jumps because because it's so light and so powerful. Even though the chassis can't deal with it around the corners, it can still go bloody quick in a straight line. Tell me about it. It can go quick. I imagine this would be one of the quicker cars we've ever had if I mess around with the gear ratios a bit. But it just, the corners is where it lets it down, and even the bumps are not a thing that this car does not like the bumps. I suppose, even though it does now have more modern, I suppose, rally suspension, off-road suspension, it's still not made for this sort of thing. It is really all over the place. I mean, like that really twisty technical section just then, we were pretty slow through there. I think we were better through there before. We might get that bump as well there. I think we might go quicker. I think we have gone quicker. I don't know if we were in the 12s or the 13s there. We did get into the 12s. That's actually not too bad. That's actually not too bad of a time from the Holden FX Sedan. A 2:12.900 will put the Holden in a 17th, 18th place. It beats the Rolls-Royce Dawn, the Land Rover Series 3, the Honda Civic Type R. However, it loses out just on the Hot Wheels Rip Roared, the Porsche 550 Spider, the Ford Falcon XY. Honestly, I think that's respectable, considering this car's quite a bit down on PI compared to other cars, and it's just such an old car, possibly the oldest car, if not one of the oldest, definitely, we've ever had. It's not a bad car. It isn't a bad car. But anyway, that's going to be it for this video, guys. Thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed, please go ahead, like and subscribe, comment what other cars you want to see me drive down Blizzard Mountain, and I'll see you guys in the next video.